being the author and well-known paranormal investigator. I'm very interested in finding out how Sandie got started in all of this, but she does have books available that she's happy to sell and sign and sell. And so we're looking forward to her reading and taking questions and answers. I will be closing that door just a little bit in the event we have some late arrivals, but we want to cut down on the noise as much as we can. And so at this point, hearty welcome for Sandie La Nae.
Thank you, Annie. That was very nice. Well, hi everyone. Welcome to the lecture, and thank you for all joining in. My name is Sandie La Nae, and I am a psychic first and foremost. I'm a paranormal investigator, a TV show host, and an author. I wear a lot of hats. All right. Now, my books, what I term Historic-Paranormal. Usually the first part of the book is the history about a particular building, and then the second section is all about the spirits that we have found within the structure. The history, of course, is written from extensive research, which is fun to do. Now, the section on the ghosts that reside within the building are from the paranormal investigations. The paranormal investigative team that I am part of, Thinville Investigators, that we have discovered inside the buildings. And if I can interject, some of our Thinville investigators are here. Jack is filming, and we've got Carol back there, and
Hi.
she's doing the PowerPoint. All right. Okay, now, there you go.
There's Casper.
That's Casper, yeah. We like to find lots of ghosts. Those are fun. All right. Now I'd like to talk to you about a few of my historic paranormal books. All right. The first volume written in this genre is about the St. Charles Hotel here in Carson City. This outstanding building is actually second home to we Baylors because we host many historic ghost tours throughout the year in this building. All right. When the hotel was built in 1862, it was actually two hotels. The two-story Mueller Hotel, and then the three-story was the St. Charles Hotel. In 1896, a Mr. Briggs purchased both hotels, cut a hole in the adjoining wall, combined the two hostelries, and then renaming the structure the Briggs House. And so the hotel had to suffer through 6 name changes before it was returned back to St. Charles Hotel in 1994 by then owner Bob McFadden. You're from this area, you might have known about Bob McFadden. All right. Now, many people own the hotel over the years, and in 1865, one such noted proprietor was George Tuffley. And Tuffley at the time was also Nevada State's treasurer and held the esteemed honor of being the oldest treasurer ever elected to that post at age 69. Now, Tuffley was as well grandfather of the world-famous contratenor Richard Jose. Now, many interesting characters rented and lived in the hotel. Numerous legislatures here, they stayed here, as well as stagecoach driver Hank Moon and rodeo showgirl Ada Macon, to name a few. Now, one famous resident was that of the 1970s heavyweight boxing champion, Fighting Irish Pat Duncan. Larry, as he was known, lived his last months at St. Charles Hotel. He passed away in 2007. Now, is this hotel haunted? Yes, indeed. This painting is actually haunted. Having it gifted to me by the residents of the hotel, who were scared of it, I gladly accepted the portrait only if it stayed in the hotel. And on the tours that we offer here, lots of tours we offer, we encourage people to touch it. And many, when they feel it, it'll feel warm or cold. Or a lot of people, they've gotten instantly nauseous or dizzy Headaches will come on suddenly, and the painting also turns itself upside down. Yeah, that's. Yeah, I love this room. 310 in the St. Charles Hotel, there's a grumpy old woman, and she'll pull the bed spread up like you see in mounds when nobody's looking. There's been times that we'll smooth the spread out, and we turn around, we're gone like for 2 or 3 seconds, and she's got it again. It's really interesting what she does. And she's grumpy too, because when you exit her room, she'll slam the door open. I was like, wait a minute. All right, this is creepy. This phantom figure was captured in the screen on the TV that turned on by itself. I was the only one in the room when this you know, when this photo was captured, and it's definitely not my silhouette. All right. Now, as an aside, I like to really boast this. The Honky Tonk Man movie was partially filmed in the St. Charles Hotel, and the movie starred Clint Eastwood and his son Kyle. All right. Next, this book is about the Dake House in Genoa, Nevada. It was built in 1872 by Genoa's one and only undertaker, Charles W. Dake. And the building is now known as Antiques Plaza. Now, Dake didn't have his funeral parlor in this Gothic Victorian-style home, however, as was the fashion in the late 1880s. Dake was justice of the peace as well. And I guess he didn't want to have a corpse hanging out next to the bride and groom during the wedding. So his funeral parlor was built just a short ways north of his home. Now, Bernice Huber and the family moved to Nevada from California. And Bernice loved to renovate buildings. And when she saw this abandoned, broken down home, she told her family, "House needs me." And so purchasing the abode, it was restored to the original Victorian splendor. Now, in 1980, Bernice's daughter and now owner, Martha Williams, turned the home into an antique store featuring Victorian-era antiques. Now, this building is very haunted. Or, as Carol, our TVI member back there terms, spiritually occupied. I like that term. Now, a spirit by the name of Mary keeps a death grip, every pun intended, on this painting. She won't let anyone buy it. If someone shows interest in it, Mary will knock it off the wall, and almost started a fire one time by knocking it off and onto an electric plate. So Martha's resigned to the fact of not selling it. Now, in the late 1880s, Dave built this barn after an avalanche tore away his funeral parlor. And so he held the dead in the barn a short while they were awaiting burial. Now, it is full of spirits. And we Baylors give a lot of ghost tours through here. And when the barn is open for a specific tour, and many guests go in here, they don't stay in there very long. They just don't feel good when they're in here. They feel very, very uneasy. And even us Baylors, we go in there like you. Now, this is a lot of fun. Okay, the cornerstone of the funeral parlor is haunted too. Many who stand on it, they'll get dizzy or nauseous or have a warm feeling creep up their legs. And it's fun to stand on, actually. And it is a huge hit with our ghost tours at the Dake House. Well, I look kind of happy there. Maybe I do that. All right. Okay. Now, this is Bernice. If you ever go and visit the Dake House, please don't ever say that that house is a condo. Because if she hears you, she's a spirit, she still lives there, she'll throw a dish at you. Okay? So never say it's not haunted. Or if you say that, go outside. All right. St. Mary Louise Hospital in Virginia City, Nevada. What a magnificent building. It was built in 1875, and the land was donated by Mary Louise Mackey, wife of Bonanza King, John Mackey. The hospital was run by Father Minot and the Sisters of Charity. The building also housed a school and orphanage at the same time. Now, in 1897, the hospital closed due to a dwindling town population. Story County purchased it, the building, and then it became the Story County Hospital until 1942, when further dwindling of the town's population forced the institution to close. Now, for 20 years, the building stood empty. And in 1964, Reverend Paul Meineke presented a proposal to the Story County Commissioners that this building be transformed, I should say, into an art center. And his wishes were granted. A beautiful building. Now, we Baylors have spent many, many years visiting St. Mary's Hospital / Art Center. Our photos and videos range in the upper thousands. Is this building haunted? Yeah, the hospital, yeah, big time. And now I'll show you just a few interesting things that we Baylors have discovered. Now, this photo was taken in the old chapel room number 11. And lots of paranormal activity happens in this little room. And the lady in the white nightgown, she's been viewed numerous times hanging out in this mirror. Right. Now, these happen to be 3 still photo cells from one of our surveillance videos. The elapsed time for these 3 cells was 1 second. The blue nuns appeared for over 19 minutes, walking back and forth past our cameras. Interestingly, the habits of the nuns working in this hospital happened to be blue. They were darker blue than that, but they happened to be blue. Now, this is one of my most prized pictures. This is a nun standing on the front porch of a hospital. I captured this photo at 10:30 p.m. on July 19, 2009. Now, as we do in Village, we communicate with all the spirits that we come in contact with. We were told that the name of this spirit, she told us that her name started with an X. And we were kind of curious about that. That's interesting, you know. So we researched the nuns that were inside the hospital. And sure enough, Sister Xavier was one of the nuns attending to the patients when the hospital first opened. I love this picture. But I ask you, where are her legs? All right, the old Genoa bar, Genoa, Nevada. Known as Nevada's first thirst party. This saloon was actually built when we were still Nevada territory. I'm waiting for you to do it.
Sorry.
Okay, now I wrote this book for 3 reasons. 1, in tribute to the bar's 160th birthday. 2, in celebration of the Nevada icon for the state's 150th birthday, all coming about in 2014. Now, as an aside, this book was a featured entry in Nevada State's 150th birthday website among the Nevada authors page. This was and still is a true honor. Now, the third reason that I wrote this book was a huge thank you for the owners of the bar, Willie and Cindy Webb. They have been paramount in presenting this bar in a historical manner since 2000, when they purchased the business. Before this, the saloon was pretty well lost in history. Now, yes, this place is very haunted. Oh, it's got stories. Oh boy, we could curl your hair with the stories that you'll love. But just to show you a few, the brass pot that bartender Alicia is holding, it will throw itself off the shelf to customers, staff, or just on the floor. So when you're there, wear a shield. All right. Now, this dusty green lantern is true enigma. It is never plugged in. But each year, on the death date anniversary of a previous employee, the lamp lights up for a few seconds. The employee, who was quite ill at the end of her days, told those that worked at the bar she would light the lamp when she died. And it did so at the exact moment that she passed. And each year, on the anniversary of her demise, it lights up again. It's incredible. All right. Now, the orb that is circled is a spirit man by the name of Red. He was a biker, and he had red hair and beard, and he frequented the bar quite often. Now, in the 1970s, Red happened to be killed as he rode his bike up Kingsbury Grade. He had just left the bar. Now, it appears that Red returned right back to the bar. And since his death, many employees and customers have seen Red's full figure manifestation or captured like his energy or with camera. Now, too, the jukebox that you see sitting in the corner there, at times it will play Red's favorite songs all by itself. All right. I have a feeling that the spirits in the bar kind of like me. This energy orb in the photo, which posed colorfully with me, was taken in February 17th, 2014, when I was interviewing Willie and Cindy Webb for the Juneau book. Perhaps the spirit was happy that I was going to be ready to talk about it. All right. The Edward D. Sweeney Building in Carson City, Nevada. Now, this building is one of the oldest structures in Carson, built in the 1860s by Edward Sweeney, who was a prominent citizen of the time and one of Carson City's founding fathers. Although a lot of people don't ever really hear too much about him. You always hear about Curry and Ormsby, but Edward Sweeney was very prominent. Now, this building sits on the corner of King and Curry Streets, which at the time was one of the most important intersections in Carson City. Now, the structure was built only for merchants. The top floor was leased out to businesses, such as attorneys' offices, and then the ground floors were rented out for businesses such as grocery stores. Now, this building, too, at one time was Carson City's post office, as well as the Wells Fargo station. Now, there's decades full of history in this structure, such as early on, Orion Clemens, Mark Twain's brother, he was the secretary for the Nevada Territory, and he had his office in this building. 2, our first long-term governor, Henry G. Blasdale, leased offices on the second floor from December 1865 through September 1867, and the rent was $50 a month. Now, Edward Sweeney's son, James G. Sweeney, who also worked in his father's building as a lawyer before becoming the youngest general attorney ever elected in the United States at age 24. He had an impressive life. Now, this this building is owned by Michael Morley, whose business is Morley's Used and Rare Books, and that's housed on the lower floor. Michael's residence is now on the top floor. And it has a number of really cool ghosts inside. The photo of Michael's dog, Holly, and the energy orb is of a 5-year-old boy who is from around the turn of the 20th century. And the little one follows Holly all over the store. And he'll also follow customers. That's fun. All right. Now, TBI member, she couldn't come here today. She discovered an elderly man spirit by the name of Horace in an upstairs bedroom. Carolyn used dowsing rods, you see her holding there, to communicate with him. Horace was quite happy to be talking to us, and the rods are spinning all over the place, as they will do when the spirits answer our question via the dowsing rods. That's a little scary, isn't it? Okay, now on the staircase leading up to the apartment above, we've been able to discover a young teenage spirit by the name of Elisa. She enjoys living in the building in her spirit form as she did in life. Many pictures were taken of Louisa and I communicating, and nearly all of it captured her energy or somewhere around me. It was phenomenal. All right. There she is, sitting right back there, everyone. Arlie LaFerre. And now for a different slant on our historic paranormal books. This wonderful lady is Arlene LaFerre, She is a docent and a special works historian at the Nevada Historical Society in Reno. She is also a very good friend. Due to Arlene's expertise and phenomenal skill in historic research, she has been a universal advisor and aid with my books. I wanted the world to know all about her vast knowledge of history, so we suggested we co-author a book together. Well, instantly, there was a huge problem with that. There wasn't going to be enough room in writing just one book. So we decided to create a unique set of volumes. The first book written and published in October of 2014 was Weird Reno. Now this book is filled with all sorts of historic information, thrills and chills, and anecdotes about the biggest little city in the world. Reno, Nevada has been a huge success for Arlene and I on many, many levels. All right, now our next volume, Weird Haunted Virginia City. And this was published for this year, October, Halloween season. Now, I have to emphasize, this book is not a volume of cute ghost stories. It is a book about factual incidents presenting the bizarre, strange, and odd passing of personages, as well as inhumane behaviors to fellow residents, as well as descriptions and reports of some of the major destruction that occurred during the city's halcyon days. Virginia City was not the quiet, fun tourist city it is today. It was noisy, dirty, lawless. All right. Now, let's see. Weird Haunted Virginia City is a book written having a combined 34 years of research for its pages and over 50,000 pieces of information. Mostly from Arlene's extensive and comprehensive research. You know, I did contribute a few sentences on my own exploration in the archives. Now, these are the volumes that we are working on now. Weird Carson City and Weird Virginia City. Now these books, again, these will have the assortments of all kinds of past and present history, funny anecdotes, interesting facts, and thrills and chills throughout the pages. All right. Now, if I could just plug one more book before the lecture ends, I'd like to introduce you to An Ode to Ghosts. Now, inside are 50 poems written for the different specters that I have met throughout my life. And it was a fun book to compose because I've always liked and enjoyed writing poetry. So why not write a book for ghosts? That's cool. All right. Thank you all for attending this lecture. It's a true honor to have you all join in today. Thank you very, very much, Andy, and Carson City Library for the opportunity to present our books to you. Thank you so much. All right. Now I guess we can have Q&A. If you'd like to ask questions of me, other veilers, sure.
So, the person who introduced you mentioned that she was interested in knowing more about your history and how you got into this, etc.
Oh.
Would you,
I can expand on that if that's okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Would you like a chair?
No, I'm good. I'm used to standing, yeah. Well, I was born a psychic, and I have the ability to where I see dead, and I feel them and hear them and taste them and everything else. And so I've been interested in the paranormal and supernatural and everything all of my life. I do give intuitive readings using stones, and I also offer spirit readings, which are people that come to me that they want to speak to a loved one that is passed over. Now, in 2005, November 19th, 2005, Finville investigators were created. We've almost been a team for 10 years now, yay! And what we are a team of psychics and sensitives. That's just what we rely on. We do use small electronic devices like, you know, cameras and recorders, but most of the time what we do to communicate and speak with the spirits is just our abilities. And we're very low tech. We use the dowsing rods. We put down beads and puffballs. Ghosts like to move things, so we put things down for them that they can. okay? We have investigated all sorts of places, haunted buildings, documented haunted buildings, museums, libraries, artifacts. We investigate artifacts, areas like forests, meadows, okay? Everywhere, there happens to be lots of spirits hanging around, okay? And we have got footage and video in EVP, which is electronic voice phenomena, ghost speak. We just got files into the upper thousands. It's been fun. So that's what we do, is we only go in to communicate. We don't go in to provoke. We are totally against that. We don't go in to banish someone, okay? We go in only to communicate, to find out if Grandpa Jones is still hanging out at home, or many times we will go into an old building and somebody tells us, you know, that this activity is going on, so we try and find out what spirit is there. And this is really cool because so many times we will find Major Ormsby sitting over in the corner, and he is answering our questions with answers, well, of course answers, but with historic facts that we then can research, and the spirits have given us that awesome information. And here it is, well, and like Arlene's collections at the Reno Historical Society, it's in those files. So a lot of times the spirits give us information we don't know. Just like with Sister Xavier at the St. Mary's Hospital. She told us her name starts with X. And at that time, we did not really know the names of the nuns that started the hospital. So that was really interesting to find out Sister Xavier was one of the first ones there. So that's what we do. We communicate only. We all have the ability to see or hear or feel the spirits in some way, shape, or form. Jack and Carol are what we call environmental paranormal researchers. They can kind of go into a room and say, oh boy, I know something's here, okay? Our other paranormal investigator, Carolyn, she is what we call physical psychic. She gets sick, she gets very bad headaches when there's spirits around. We had a lady on our team at one time, we called her an audio psychic. She could hear him talking. Couldn't see him or anything, but she could hear him talking. So that's who we are. We've been around for 10 years, and normally we're just around the northern Nevada region. We've been into lots of places, and actually it's really been a lot of fun because we've met a lot of wonderful people that have asked us to come into their private homes. Some of them have brand new homes, and it doesn't matter if there's a place that's old or new, there's going to be people hanging out. And throughout my years of giving psychic readings, the thing that I have found out that's very, very interesting, and I just love this, is that when family members cross over, they really don't go anywhere. They want to hang out with you. They want to see how you're doing. They want to see the kids grow up. And they just hang out and wait for everybody to meet up again. But they really don't go too far. And it's really cool too because, oh my God, what they can do on the other side for us, they can help us find a new job. They can help us find a new spouse. I mean, they can help us choose. They can help us decide. It's phenomenal what they can do. It's phenomenal. So, okay.
Define Baylor, and you said you were born a psychic. When did that, how did that come about that it was confirmed that you knew? I mean, as a child, as you were growing up, what experience kind of conveyed to you?
My first experience was when I was 3. I can remember my mother putting me down for a nap, and I wanted to go home. And I was so confused because I didn't know what that meant. I mean, I'm in my own house. But I kept seeing, if you can picture in your mind, old marketplaces, like over in the Middle East with, you know, all the adobe buildings and the tents with some flags hanging off. That's where I was. I don't know what time period, but I wanted to go home, so it was really confusing. And then, this is how lame I was. I was in 7th grade. What are you, like 13 years old or something when you're in 7th grade? And I was in art class. And I was spewing forth some type of prediction. And people are looking at me like, and that is when I finally figured out that people just don't have that ability. I was that old. I just thought everybody could see and know, and it was, yeah. So, and then I had no mentor. Now, my parents were real cool. They didn't discourage me, but yet again, they didn't quite understand, so they couldn't be my mentor. So it was a lot of hit and miss. When you're a teenager, you just kind of like want to get rid of that because you're too busy having fun. And then you get married, you have a family, you get a job, things like that. So I had to really kind of put things off to the side for just a little while. But many, many, many times though, I mean, that rug was literally pulled right out from underneath me because the universe said, no, you've got this ability, you're going to use it. So it's been a tough life. It really has. Because I haven't really lived a normal life, like a lot of you have. And one of the reasons that I say that is because I have like a TV in front of me 24/7. And I constantly, and I timed it one time, it's so cool, I'm 20 seconds delay. I'll see something, and 20 seconds later it happens. It's really cool. It drives me crazy, but it's really cool.
And define Baylor.
Baylor?
Yeah, I've never, or is that what you were saying, Baylor's?
I think she means the name of the team.
Oh, Baylor.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Finn Vale Investigators.
Got it, okay.
And one of the reasons that we took that name is because on October 31st, the veil is the thinnest to where the spirits can interact with physical people on Earth. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I had Baylor.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. All right. Uh-huh.
Through your contact with spirits, have you been able to solve some mysteries, murders that occurred and nobody had an answer to?
Right. I have helped local authorities, but I have, if I can boast, for about 6 months back in 1998, I was very honored to work with Scotland Yard. There was a fugitive from, I believe he was from England. Anyway, somehow he got over here to America when they got a hold of me, and I tracked him all the way from California through Mexico, and he went over to Venezuela. And I tracked this fugitive all the way over there. So I also have an ability of what it's called, I call it remote viewing. If you give me an address, I can stand right here and instantly go to that place. There is a friend of mine, her name is Simone, and she lives in Italy, next to Rome. And what she and I do is we make mini documentaries. She will give me actually a coordinate, because many of the ruins over there do not have addresses. So she'll give me a coordinate, I will go there, and I write down all my findings, and then she gives me the feedback saying, oh my God, how did you know that? One time, this is about a year ago, she was asking me if I could go back in time, and I said, sure. I went back and I found some Etruscans, and that's like 8,000 to 9,000 years ago. And I saw them just like I'm looking at you, guy. So to get back to your question, yes, I have worked with local authorities. At one time, nobody now believes me. They just think I'm, full of hooey. So that's okay, because I help people when they get a hold of me through my website or whatever. So yeah, and it's sad. I have to admit, it's not always a nice ending to their story. These people are trying to find people I can, and so then I let them have some closure. And although that's heartbreaking, people need to know. How do I keep my sanity? Well, I really don't think it's there too much. You know what? That's actually a very good question. I have to shield myself like you would not believe. Everything I wear is blessed. I carry holy water with me. Well, in fact, we all do. I carry every type of icon that you can think of on me, and when we go on investigations, to keep us safe, to keep me safe, to keep me shielded. And then too, I've had to learn to, if somebody comes in for a reading and they've got a horrendous problem, I really need to put up that invisible brick wall so their energies don't affect me because they can't. Because I'm a little empathic too, and empathic people, they feel all the energies. If someone's sad, you get sad. If they're happy, you get happy. So I have to really put up that wall. I love what I do. I wouldn't give it up for the world. Although it's been, a little strange life. I wouldn't give it up for the world because now I'm pretty old and I don't know what I would do without it. If my powers, if you want to call them that, abilities, were taken away right now, I wouldn't know how to live. Don't turn off my TV channel, that's how I live. That's how I help other people. And that makes my heart soar to the moon and back, is when someone comes in for a reading and they're very unhappy, and I give them help. And when they leave, they always give me a hug or a huge smile. And that really moves me. That really makes me feel good because I helped that person. And that's all I want to do. And that's with the ghosts too. That's with the hauntings and the paranormal investigations. We go in to help the spirits because all they want really is to be acknowledged. Sometimes when people, they cross over, they're forgotten about. People grieve for a month or two or whatever. And then they're forgotten about and they don't want to be. They want to be acknowledged, just like I'm acknowledging all of you now. The spirits want to be acknowledged too. So that's what we do. We go in and say, "Hi, Grandma," and they are ecstatic. It's like, "Oh my gosh." So we tell, for example, homeowner, your grandfather's still there. Set a place for him at the table for dinner. Give him a bowl of popcorn while you're watching a movie. And something that we do at my house, we buy toys for the children ghosts. Yeah. One time, it was really cool. My daughter, she has the same abilities that I do. And this was quite a few years ago, and we both knew there was a little girl. And it was like about 1860. I think her parents, she died because her parents were, going through to California. And she asked me, the little girl did, if she could hang out at the house for a while. I went, okay. And so it was getting near Christmas. And my daughter said, "We need to buy her a present." And I said, "We do." So I went to the Dollar Tree and found a rag doll. Not Barbie. They didn't have Barbie dolls back in the 1860s. So we got her a little rag doll. And I made her a little tag, a little ghost girl from Chantel and Sandie. And I put it under the tree. That little ghost girl was so excited. But I said, no, you can't touch it. Come Christmas morning, that doll was all over the place. At nighttime, I would set it, up in a chair at night. And usually, I would stay 4 days out of 5 when I'd get up in the morning. The doll was laying down on the seat or on the floor. It was so cool. Yeah, so that's they love to be acknowledged. This was like 2006, I think. She's no longer with us. I'm sure she's, moved on to try and find her family. But it was kind of fun to have a ghost for Christmas. Yeah.
I hate to ask you, who's the man standing beside you?
The man standing
On this
beside me
side, on this
is on
side.
this side? Oh, and that's cool because your left side is your psychic side. And your right side is your, human side of it. I wanted to say that libraries are very, very haunted. And who I am feeling right now, let's see if I need to tune in a little bit here. Do you know the history of this building? Somewhat? Okay. He is saying that he's someone very prominent, that he gave the land, he gave the building, he gave something to Carson City to build this, and that's who's standing next to me, right? Yeah. Okay. Do you kind of know who that could be? Okay. Because, it's one thing that's really weird about psychic ability. You can get some things, you can't get others. I can never pick up names and also numbers. I've had people say, okay. It's like, sorry. I'd be a millionaire if I could do that. But yeah, so I can't pick up on his name.
If he's still there, thank you.
Oh, you bet, yeah, see? Awesome, thank you for pointing him. Okay, is that you?
Planetarium.
Thank you for that. Awesome. All right, any more questions or just want to hang out and talk because I could do this all day?
Yes, I want to go to the Washoe Club.
Yes, I have.
Did you find anything there?
Yes, lots of stuff, lots of stuff. Haven't been in there in a few years, just because we're just so busy doing other things, you know. But yeah, I have been up there. Let me see, the last time that we were there was in the back room, they had 2 billiard tables. And actually, this is kind of interesting because when we go into a place like that, there's a lot of people, okay? We try and hide so people can't see what we're doing because this was in the middle of the day somewhere. And so we were in the back there, and not too many people came in, but when they did, we would stop what we were doing. Well, there was this one man that he came in and he goes, "You guys are very, very interesting. What are you doing?" And I thought, oh, okay. So I told him who we are, what we're doing. He goes, "Oh, cool, can I hang out?" And it's like, okay, because normally we don't, you know, because we don't want to scare people. Anyway, he was really cool, and he was just doing everything we were doing. And we found a spirit by the name of Joe Brown. He was 15 years old, and at the time my daughter was 16 years old, and she was with us. Oh my God, Joe Brown fell in love with my daughter. It was cool. So this man that was with us, I said, "Why don't you guys sit over here?" At that time they had like a little potbelly still back then. I said, "Why don't you sit here?" And I said, "I'm going to ask Joe if we can have his picture taken." Okay, fine. So the man sat here, and Chantel was here, and the potbelly stool was right here, which is black, which is really cool because we'll show up later on black stuff. So I've taken pictures, and all of a sudden, here he is, big as life, big, humongous orb, and it's like, cool. Thank you, Joe. And he was just smitten with Chantel. Oh my gosh, he was so in love with my daughter. So I get home, and the man, before he left that day, he gave me his business card. And I thought, oh, okay, cool. So I told him, I said, "I'll send you the photo," because he was really impressed that, you know, here he's sitting on the big orbs right next to him. So I get a hold of it and come to find out he's a movie star. And it's like, what? And we kept in contact. We still do, not as much because we're busy and he's busy. And it's like, I've never had a movie star follow us around before, so that was really cool.
Who was it?
It was, have you ever heard of a man called Clark Jarrett? He was on Dynasty. He was, oh, I can't even remember the shows that he was on. Oh, is he good looking? But what he did now, he directs and he produces, and he also went to college to get his degree in teaching. So somewhere down in Hollywood, he's like a professor. It's like, wow. So he teaches down at some university, UCLA maybe or something too. So it's like, so that was fun. But to answer your question, yeah, Washoe Club is full.
Oh, yes, it is.
Actually, it's really cool. There's this miner, he buys people drinks. And so we discovered him one time, and he was sitting in the back, and I'm going, how come you know, back here, you're supposed to be up here buying drinks for, you know, the live people. And it happened to be, what is that called, when there's all the motorcycles going around? I'm stuck on hot August nights, and that's it, yeah. And he said, "I'm scared of the iron horses." And it's like, iron horses? Oh, motorcycles. So that was interesting that I thought that he called them the iron horses. And boy, it was really loud and busy out on the street that day too. So Washoe Club is interesting. It's interesting.
Yes.
As many of the places are up there. We've investigated many buildings up there. We've investigated many homes up there and a few mines. Very, very interesting.
I have been here.
Uh-huh.
And looking for employment has been difficult because I have interviewed people in the city and different people, and also gone online. I've
In fact, this area of the country is so filled with so much history. It's just phenomenal what goes on around here. So why not? Why not? I know that this town, I've lived here since the mid-70s. I'm from Northern California, and I've lived here since the mid-70s, and I've seen a lot of plans just fall. You know, a lot of progress. Just, you know, it's on the planning table, looks good, and all of a sudden, you hear the toilet flush, you know, it's gone. And there's just no like other plans. There's no renovation. It just falls to pieces. So that's a very, very good question. Why not? I know a lot of spirits up in Virginia City are trying to get the dignity back to it because it's been sensationalized. Well, now this is just my opinion. I don't want to stand on my soapbox too long with this, but it's been over-sensationalized. It's been given some very undignified titles, TV shows, books. So that's one thing that Arlene and I are doing because she's got such phenomenal research. The spirits really help her contact other spirits. Her files are just, I mean, they're just phenomenal. I know that word gets tiring, but she finds things that are just not anywhere else. And so what we're trying to do is just give Virginia City back its dignity because it so needs it. My opinion. Okay? And I think that's what's happened to not necessarily just Virginia City, but Genoa, Carson City, Dayton, Mendon, Gardnerville. I think the vibration, if you want to use that type of word, I think they all need to be raised. Let's get rid of the demons. And let's bring back the nice spirits that are trying to help us raise up that vibration to bring these towns back up into, well, their dignity. So, yeah, why not? That's a very good question. Cool. Anybody else? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, so much for